I hate both of you.
Welcome to part 2.
Oh, it's the man on the walls. Ashley's looking at the wall because there's a noise.
Well, it's not just a noise, it's a rhythmic noise, as though someone is trying to get our attention.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like... It sounds premeditated. It sounds intentional. And it's just picking up as I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think I'm kidding?
It's like somebody's trying to find a stud in the wall.
This happens
to hang
constantly.
pictures.
Constantly.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
I told you there was a man on the walls. So wait until you hear the scurrying or whatever it is.
Maybe there's a
It's crazy.
creature? No, because they got teeny little hands, and that definitely
I'm
sounds
finally glad
like
that
a
somebody else is
man's.
hearing
That
this.
sounds like a man's middle finger, like
It's very specific.
like tapping.
Not his
like,
ring
I wanna
finger.
be-
Oh God, don't do that. Oh my God, don't communicate with it.
You've never done that?
No, now I'm freaked out. You're inviting it into my room.
Oh, my bad. I just thought it might be your neighbor. Like, you know how, like, when you're in a hotel and you hear somebody banging and you bang back?
I don't know what it
You
is,
know,
but
when
I
you
don't
have
want to
those,
know.
like, shared doors?
Oh,
Okay.
great. Now it's getting worse. Thanks a lot. Anyway, so
It might just be a rat.
maybe it's. I definitely think. I mean, man on the walls is a bit extreme. I think there is an animal that got in the walls. It might be a raccoon
Yeah.
or a squirrel.
And there has to be a way for it to go in and out.
Yes, because I think it goes over here. Like it's definitely in that wall
Yeah.
over there, and in the wall behind my bed. I'm just
Telling
hoping that
me
it doesn't
Jason doesn't
die.
hear that?
No.
That's so pronounced.
I hear it all the time.
It's
and he's-
clear.
And I pause things because I'm like, "Do you hear that?" And he's like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about."
All right, well,
Although he has bad hearing in one ear, so maybe he can't hear.
maybe. Whatever.
Not
Whatever.
the point.
Go back.
So, anyway, so
Foreign
film,
films,
So
yeah.
foreign films. Then I got into, I think Hollywood video is when I got into Kubrick. The foreign films, so Fellini. Mm-hmm. Kurosawa was later. Actually, no, both of those were later. I'm sorry, no. Fellini and Kurosawa were much later. But Kubrick was definitely back then in Hollywood video times. Because, I mean, I had to watch all of the Stanley
I
Kubrick
bet.
films. And Barry Lyndon was the hardest to get because, it wasn't a popular one back then.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it's like everybody raves about it because I love it. And that seems to happen every time I love something. Like all of a sudden, everybody else in the world just picks up on it. I'm like, stop
Well-
it! I mean, unless it gets me a Blu-ray, which it did, so it's fine. It got me Criterion Blu-ray,
Ooh.
which was an early thing. Like I was like back when they had a Criterion, the website where you could suggest titles.
Yeah.
The only two I ever suggested were Barry Lyndon and Casanova. Casanova still hasn't happened by Fellini. I'm hoping this year because it's his 100th anniversary. So I'm like, please put out a box set and have Casanova in it. I have Casanova on Blu-ray, so either way, it's fine. But so I went towards Kubrick, and then the last thing I remember about Hollywood Video was the day that I quit. I bought the Fight Club 2-disc special edition DVD came out that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought that on my way out and sat there and watched every single fucking special feature because I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just watch Fight Club for
You quit
who knows how long.
Hollywood before you had another job lined
Yeah, I
up?
wasn't very smart back then, and I lived with my parents. So
Oh, okay. Well, then.
I think they cared, but they were like, well, I graduated high school. What's it going to do now? Nothing. Watch Fight Club. I'm going to watch Fight Club, Mom, 8,000 times. And I've literally, I just literally bought the Blu-ray at a, what do you call it?
Go ahead.
I want to say garage sale, but that's not right.
Yard sale?
No, flea market.
Okay.
I found it at a flea market for like $1, and I was like, I'll take it for $1. Because I've seen it so many times that it really doesn't appeal to me to sit down and watch it anymore.
Right.
Every once in a while, I'll get an itch to see certain scenes because I like when they first show Marla Singer and the slow motion with the smoke, and it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily want to sit down and watch the whole movie probably ever again because I've just seen it so many damn times and I know every fucking thing about it, which would be a probably good episode because I know everything. Anyway, so that's kind of my history with it. And then like later at Sam Goody, because of course I had to eventually get a job at a place that sold movies again.
Yeah.
And I love music too, but I love cinema. But that's where I discovered Fellini and then Kurosawa. And Fellini was, I may have mentioned this before. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but it was an article in an Entertainment Weekly that had like a special about Cinecittà Studios because that's where they were filming Gangs of New York, Martin Scorsese film.
Mm-hmm.
And
You've talked many times about that movie.
yes, and they were filming it at Cinecittà, and it was beautiful and big and crazy and awesome. So they did a whole feature on Cinecittà, and of course Fellini's. That's where he filmed basically all of his films, and most of them were, all of them were on. It sounds like he got to the point where everything was fake.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like cardboard backdrops of some sort and just throw it out. Who cares? Paint it. Like,
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like modern days where you have special effects. Or like the trash bags for sea water that was rocky. You'd have to see it to understand what I mean by that.
No,
But it literally
I
was
think I
trash
have a
bags,
visual
yeah.
of that because also his movies are all of them in black and white?
No.
Or most of them?
No.
Oh.
Majority is color, I think.
Oh, the few that I looked up were all black and white.
The last black and white film he did was 8.5.
Which was his 8.5 film. So maybe I looked
Yeah.
up the other 7.5.
What you probably did. He started color right after that. But anyway, so he. But I remember seeing an image from Casanova in that article, and I was like, because costume piece, of course. I was like, I need to say that. And it turns out my journey with Fellini, that was the last one I saw because it was so hard to fucking get. And this is back in the day. So this is back when, like, I mean, they did have Laserdisc at this point. DVD, well, no, yeah, DVDs were definitely a thing. But it was like a film like that, if Criterion wasn't going to put it out, you were never going to see that goddamn thing. And to this day, like the versions that I did get, the DVD that I eventually got, and the Blu-ray that I now have, they're from England, I think. They're not from America. So I had to go overseas to get my films, which I do quite a bit. But so to this day, that film has never been released in America. And well, it was on Laserdisc at one point, but I don't think it was ever released on VHS in America.
Okay.
And when I bought it originally to watch, it was a bootleg VHS tape, like the ones from my parents'
Yeah.
HBO days.
Yeah.
Literally, somebody just copied it and sent it to me, and I paid like $50 for it. That's how much
But those
I
were
wanted
the
to.
times,
Those were the
dude.
times. That's
Yeah.
what you had to do. Bootleg your goddamn movies. And it's funny too because with that one, I had the soundtrack. I had the screenplay, which was published. I still have it, obviously. I read it. I listened to it. I knew everything about the goddamn thing. I just had never seen it. And then when I finally did see it, I fucking loved it. And then, because that was such a horrible copy of it, when I finally saw it, like, legit, it was even more spectacular. I was like, oh my god, there were things in the background. It wasn't just a fuzzy blob. It was amazing. So I was very excited. It was one of those times where all those years of leading up to it, it was worth it. To me, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people probably wouldn't sit down and want to see that. It's long and it's really, there's trash bags as seawater. So it might not be for everybody, but I fucking loved it. I thought it was amazing. But I will say the screenplay was amazing. That's
Yeah.
great. Like, I really think that it would be fascinating to use Nino Rota's score and do a stop motion version using that screenplay. Because he did not adhere to it when he made the film. He changed things all the time with his film. So when he finally, the finished product, it doesn't actually have a lot of the screenplay in it. But the screenplay is amazing, which is probably why they published it.
Yeah, I read that that Fellini, who was one of your favorite directors.
Yes. We're getting there, I swear.
Yeah. I read that he was notorious for not having finished thoughts, screenplays, ideas, whatever. He would just start filming and just figure it out.
That is absolutely true. I think the early ones, they did, he had screenplays, but I think...
Like, after a while, he was like, what you talking about? I'm Fellini. Get me a trash bag. We'll make some water.
No joke, yeah. I think the last one that was legit, scripted and everything beforehand was probably Nights of Cabiria. And then La Dolce Vita is where it all changed for him. And then he was like, I can just do whatever the fuck I want. I mean, kind of. I think he was stressed about it, but eventually he got the rhythm and then he just did whatever he wanted. But we'll talk about that when we talk about Fellini more legitimately.
Okay.
But, because there's a lot I could say about Fellini. We don't need a whole... so anyway, one more thing before we get on to our next round of things is Kurosawa, because I have to say, with Kurosawa, I really didn't know much about him at all. I think I probably had heard of Seven Samurai and Ron or whatever. I'd heard of them. I'd never seen these movies. But I remember Criterion released Throne of Blood on DVD, and the cover art was so beautiful. Like when it came at Sam Goody or whatever, and I was like, that is amazing. I was like, I need to see this movie. I don't care what it is. I need to see it. Literally, it was the artwork for the Criterion release that made me like, and then when I watched the film, I was like, what the fuck? This is amazing.
Criterion has some really good artwork. There have been movies that I've seen and did not like, but then I'll see like a Criterion cover of it and I'll be like, oh, I should buy that.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you didn't like that movie.
I don't like the movie. In the Mood for Love by Wong Kar-wai was another one where I saw that cover and I was like, I have to see whatever this is.
Yeah.
Like I have to. It's gorgeous. But I was amazed because that's not normally a thing, but with Throne of Blood, that cover is, that could be a poster and I could put it on my damn wall. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So to this day, I still think that's one of the best Criterion covers they've ever done. But I just thought it was funny that I stumbled upon, obviously he's a very well-known director, and I was going to come across him at some point anyway, but
yeah,
the way that I was introduced to it, I thought was hysterical. I was like, because I probably...
you were like, ooh, shiny.
I was like, ooh. And then when I watched it, that was what really blew my mind. I was like, I can't believe this is a film and nobody else is talking about it. Like, obviously it came out in, 50-something, but...
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure somebody talked about it at some point. But do you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where you wanted people to see. I was like, I still do. To this day, I really think everybody should see Throne of Blood because it is amazing. Like, it's a adaptation of Macbeth. And... so all these the fortune, like a soothsayer, whatever. There's all that kind of shit. But there's one point where like the forest is going to attack the castle, and Toshiro Mifune or whatever is like, whatever. Forest is not going to attack the castle. It's fine. We're all good. And he's trying to, calm his troops down because it's like, no, it's fine. Instead of the forest was going to attack. It's good. We're fine. Everybody's fine. The forest can't even do that. And then the forest starts coming towards the castle, and I was like, what? This is the 50s. This is not like 2011 or whatever. This is like, that's real. Like, what? How is the forest coming towards the castle? Like, I'm serious. Like, when you watch it, you're just like, what the fuck is happening right now? Yeah. And that was me throughout the whole... my jaw was on the floor the whole entire movie. And then there's other things. Believe me, there's other things in that movie. I'm not ruining anything. Anyway, so that's basically how I got into film.
Yeah.
My long-winded...
I will say that I had a large VHS collection. And a lot of that was due to my mother buying me movies. Like my parents, I don't recall a time where they were ever together where we where all three of us lived under the same roof. They've been separated since I was like 2 years old. But they have both been like unflinchingly supportive of like whatever my passions are. My mother would buy me movies all the time. She'd go out and she'd be like, I don't think you own this. And she would just buy it because, like, you know, we didn't have like HBO or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, so in order to watch some movies, if you weren't going to see them in theaters, you had to purchase them.
Yeah.
Or record them. We also had a lot of blank tapes to record television, which I did for those shows that when I finally went back to school. Like, I started recording stuff on VHS so I wouldn't miss my daytime television.
Yeah. True.
So I wouldn't miss my stories.
I did that with when I got a job for the first time. The Jenny McCarthy show was on, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Can't believe nobody else watched that show, but I loved it, and I would tape it because I was never going to be home for it. So I made sure that because that was back when you could set it up to record. At certain times.
Or my mom used to call the house, and she'd be like, what was it? Melrose Place is about to be on. Press record.
Yep.
I'd be like, okay.
Love it.
Yeah.
90210. Jenny McCarthy show.
Party of Five.
God, that was great.
Which had Nev Campbell in it, and I didn't start watching it until later, but it was Party of Five was something I was recording as a kid for my mother, and I wish I would have realized.
There's so much. I mean, our history with film is long, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, and my dad bought me my first video camera.
I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, there's a lot of stuff that I'm not saying, like Disney films.
Yeah.
We owned all those.
The VHSs I have
VHS.
are all, like, I owned E.T.
Or clamshell, that's what they call them.
Yeah, because Disney had all the clamshells.
Yeah.
E.T. was in a clamshell, if I'm... No,
that was later. It wasn't, like, the 90s.
I remember getting Indian in the Cupboard. And it came with, like, a little...
Frank Oz.
With a little, key, and it had a little Indian, and I would, like, lock it up and open it, and...
Do you know it's one of the first books that I read, and I loved it?
Huh.
So when they made a movie, I was like, "Ooh, a movie about this book that I like." And they did a pretty good job. Frank Oz did a pretty good job. I liked it. I thought it was good.
But yeah, anytime I wanted, like, well, not anytime I wanted, like, but they would, like, save up for, like, that thing. Like, when I started editing in high school, like, my mom got me, my mom eventually got me Avid. I think it was her, or it was my dad.
It's kind of the opposite for me in a weird way. Like, my parents were very tech people. They had the cameras and all that kind of shit. But then when I started getting interested in it, I don't know what happened, but, like, I think maybe the ratio of money.
A lot of
didn't
it's
have a lot of money, and
expensive.
that was expensive, so I didn't get any of that stuff. It took me forever to get a camera of my own. Forever.
It took me a long time too.
And
Like,
then by the time I
it wasn't
got
just
one,
like whatever.
I think the time I got one with the tape, like a small tape,
mini DV.
the mini, and then I got one that was like a. We went and got an HD camera, right? Mm-hmm. It was all the rage. But this was when, obviously, companies knew how to be fucking assholes. Because it was not an HD camera, not high definition. It was an hard drive camera. I was pissed because I thought it was going to be a high definition camera.
Yeah.
And then, it just so happens you don't need a tape. Mm-hmm. No, it was hard drive. So it just, you didn't have to have a tape. I still have that, but fuck it.
Yeah.
Then eventually I got other things. But the funniest thing is like all the times that I wanted a good camera to make something, when I finally did get something that was, like even my iPhone, I could make a film on my iPhone.
Yeah.
I would have died for something like that as a kid. But now, it's like I have this stuff. I have it in my fucking pocket every single day. I've never made a goddamn thing.
The only two things regarding film that my parents gifted me, was a video camera, which I asked for quite some time, and Avid, the editing program, which I was using in high school, throughout high school, and I was...
See, you did a class in school.
Yes.
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not know that was an option.
I started school... Well, I moved from West Palm up to Largo, or the Seminole area. And when I started school, I was signing up late. And they were like, what courses? I had to do a... It was weird that I sat in with a guidance counselor, and they asked me they were like, oh, you can choose electives now. What do you want? And I was like, is there anything regarding movies? And I wanted a movie course. And it was all booked up, but there were TV productions. And in order for me to do TV productions... I had to like enter this other course program that allowed me to take like such specific electives, and that program was not what was it called? It wasn't a remedial thing, but it was like where the foreign exchange students ended up, where like awkward teens like ended up, because like it was a class that this group of people had together. They would take their main courses together, like a math, reading, writing, or what have you.
Yeah.
So I think it like helped these kids like integrate into high school.
Okay.
Because they were with each other, and I think that's why the foreign exchange students were in there, because then they had familiar faces and like, you know, things like that.
I was in special ed for a long time
Yeah.
because I had a math disability.
Okay.
And so I'm relating to some of this because that's where they put all like, I was in classes with like the strangest people.
Yeah.
Not bad. Some of them were bad, but not all of them were bad. But it was just like the guy that ripped his teeth out right next to me. Mm-hmm. That was creepy. Like, and that was the same class that I saw Secret Garden for the first time, the movie, and I loved it. Well, I guess ripping his teeth out, and I'm like, but the garden. Don't interrupt my movie.
No.
He wasn't getting attention, so he ripped out his teeth.
But all the other filming aspects, like I have PVC piped made like monopods for my camera.
Okay, yeah.
I use my mother's shop lights for lighting equipment, and I would have to like dim it and manipulate it, like either bounce the light off the wall or something like that. So I had to be very creative as far as like any other production aspect.
I actually did, yeah.
Yeah.
I got some lights, like I don't know what you call them.
They have like a dowser on them.
No, they're just spotlight. No.
They're just like
They
regular
would
like
clip on. You could clip it on something, and it was like silver.
Oh, those are similar to shop lights, right? Or were they like
yeah,
for
shop lights? There you go.
Were they?
Because I probably
yeah.
saw them at Home Depot when my parents were getting something. I was like,
Yeah.
oh look, I could use those. And I got a
the
green
type you would
screen.
like could clip onto
I
like
still
a
have
tank
it.
for a
My green
hamster or something.
Yes. Mhm.
I also have
Yeah.
a blue screen.
Oh,
It's
I
just
have
a big
I have
blue
green
cloth.
one. Yes,
Yeah.
when I finally got in the mail, I was like, it's just a gigantic green cloth. I could have gone to Joann's.
Yeah, that's what I did.
You were smart at that.
Well,
Which is funny 'cause
I was
always
more
wanted,
savvy. Like I knew that I wouldn't be able to afford whatever it was.
Well, I mean, I got mine off eBay, and it was probably like $30, but I got the smaller of the two. So it was actually when I finally set it up, I was like, I don't know what the hell I could do with this. I could stand in front of it,
And pretend like you're swimming in an ocean.
swimming, but it could only be like this right close to my face, like, because I used it once, and it really didn't work well.
Yeah.
I mean, but I also didn't have like the greatest programs because I had to buy my own. I got like, I want to say it's, I'm never gonna remember. I don't know. No, Vegas. I think it was Vegas.
Oh, Sony Vegas?
Yes, Sony Vegas.
I have that.
And then, in fact, the computer that we're recording on right now, this Mac, I specifically got this Mac that had Final Cut Pro installed on it, and it cost me freaking who knows how much.
Yeah.
And I've only used it once to edit a video that I made of me shaving my beard off once for Instagram.
Dude, you saw alright, so I used Avid throughout high school.
Which
Right?
I never used that.
I love it. And it's probably because that's what I learned on. And then when I went to like, I had a friend whose dad worked at Fox here in Tampa, and I like went up in there, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we know Avid, blah 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 blah," and then they showed me their like traditional like editing programs that they don't really use anymore, but because everyone was trying to phase out of like splicing and like the I'm doing stuff with my hands to show like film going back and forth. But yeah, and I was like, this is the coolest. But like
The old school stuff?
yeah, but those machines are too big.
Yeah,
like
I did get a splicer once.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have a little
Yeah, it was
taping
a
little
one.
bits.
It
Yeah,
has like the little for the rolls.
took it from the movie theater.
Oh no, I got mine at an antique store. It was somewhere in the corner, and I was like, ooh. And then it turns out, well, I don't know what to do with it because I don't have a film camera. But I had it just in case.
Oh, you know what? Maybe we can use my 8mm camera and record like a 5-minute video and color on the cells and do like editing like
we
that
should
and
do
like
that.
splice a bunch of
We could make a
stuff. Yeah,
Stan
that'd
Brakhage film.
be fun.
So anyway,
But yeah, so that I edited stuff a lot. I did a lot of editing, and I did a lot of freelance editing.
that's cool. See, I didn't get that far. I mean, I did stuff for myself.
You did stuff for yourself, and
Yeah.
you have like really good work. I was
nice of you.
like editing like wedding videos, or I did a lot of submissions for female softball players, like for like college entry videos.
That's funny.
And
Oh, I
one
did
team
make a-
wanted it for all of the same song. And what song is it? Is it? I'll remember it. I can sing that song backwards.
Oh, God.
I
Ooh.
can't. It was a lot.
My sister, I made a cooking video
Mm-hmm.
for her to do, like enter a contest for something. I don't know, but it was a pretty good video. I was
Yeah.
like, look at me. But it's so funny because, like I said, I got this freaking Final Cut Pro,
Mm-hmm.
fancy shit, and I've never used it for anything significant, and I'm really mad about it. Can you tell?
Oh,
But-
I had to use it in college, and I hated it. You can see how
It is
I tried to use
complicated.
John's Mac
Yeah.
before we started recording, and I just held it, and I was like, how do you go
Well,
back?
even the
Like,
GarageBand, which is what we're using to record, just because I've technically done it before, sort of. I could add beats, but I don't. I mean, I did finally learn how to use Final Cut Pro, but it's funny to me because like the Vegas thing is what I used to edit all the films that I made, and like I can't tell you how much easier it would have been to do those with this. But now, like I said, I don't really have any footage of anything to do anything with because I don't really do that anymore.
I mean, you can use your phone though.
No, I know. I'm saying, but like, you know, back then when I had the energy and the
Yeah,
time
and
the friends that
the
wanted
beard
to do it.
shave.
Well, no, that was just the one. No, I'm talking about way back when,
Yeah.
before I had a beard. Like, well, I could, never mind, whatever. But, you know, it's just even having friends that I could snag and put in my movies. Like, that just doesn't happen anymore. We're adults. It's like, no adults want to get together and make a movie. Well, actually, I guess they do.
I mean-
I have some friends that do that. And they're very good at it. They have a good time. Anyway, not the point. What is their thing? I should know their thing to plug it, but I can't remember. I think it's Are You Plugged In or something?
What are you talking about? What is that?
My friends that make movies.
Oh, I don't know. I
can't
don't
remember.
know.
Oh, We Massacre Productions. There you go. Look at
Ooh.
me. Oh, they make horror movies. You'd probably like them. I have some.
Yeah. What?
We should go to one of their things next time they do something.
Yeah.
Because they have them in theaters and stuff over here. They have the place where we saw Rocky Horror. I think they do it
Where
there.
we saw Rocky Horror?
With...
Yeah, the Tampa Picture Show.
Thank you. There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so not the point. Whatever. So, where were we going with all that? don't
I
know.
think we were ending this part of the segment.
Yes, we are. It's done.
It's over now.
The next part is
Go ahead.
I wrote a fun note and I don't remember what the fuck that means. Not feeling. Oh, yeah. Well, I think we kind of sort
What
of
was it?
covered it. Like,
Ask
just
it.
kind of like it's not a question. It's more like an observation about, especially these days. Like, you're the only person I could ever talk to about films, and she doesn't roll her eyes dramatically at me. Like,
You just don't see it, John.
oh God, do you do it?
No.
But it's one of those things where it's even to the point where, oh, okay, well, first of all, there's that whole disconnect from everybody else, and like there's not very many people that I can actually talk to about cinema and film, which is kind of upsetting because it's like, and even when I just in general talk to people, like I don't know, like, do people even watch movies anymore? Like, it's kind of weird. Like,
Yeah.
did you ever see this? Did you ever see this? Did you ever see this? No. They saw the Marvel movies, I'm sure. But you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
there's no I don't feel like there's a general interest in it other than having some kind of entertainment.
I will say that
In general, I'm not saying like there isn't.
When I talk to people who don't seem to be on the same, I don't want to say level. Like, I don't want it to be like I'm like
going there
like
next,
I'm a
but-
different
But we are
person.
kind of. We're at a different tier.
Well, because
other people.
we're looking at different things. We're a little bit nerdier and a little bit
Yes.
more fanboy-y. You
And
know?
this is what my note meant. I finally figured it out. So, in that vein, I often feel that, kind of like with art, like, I feel a certain confidence with what I know and what I, that kind of thing. Like when
Yeah.
you said that your friend was going to come on and do the Alien episode with me, and I was like, what if I don't know enough about Alien? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I have this
Yeah.
thing, like, am I a cinephile? Because what if I'm not? Like, what if I don't know enough? Like, what if I don't know that director? Because then if you do get into a conversation with some film people, then they're just spewing out these names that I'm like, I don't even think those are real people.
Well, I
Do you know what I'm saying?
when I was taking classes in college for film, there were like some pretentious people.
Yeah.
And I can't.
I'm not at that
like,
level.
I like grew up watching like these horror movies and Son-in-Law, like you know, or Comedy Central movies, like Just One of the Guys, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, like What About Bob? You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Groundhog Day. Like these aren't often noted as cinematic miracles.
No.
You know, like one of the first movies I wanted to watch with you was Bowfinger.
And I chose Vibes. Like,
Yeah, right.
Like,
And so it was very difficult for me in general to talk about movies with people because I was afraid of my lack of classic knowledge. And when people would ask me if I had seen something, I would just describe a moment I knew was in that famous film. You know,
you've told me that.
and
before.
I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
just avoid it altogether because it's not like I don't want to see it, and it's not like I haven't watched my fair share of black and white movies. I've watched a ton. It just happens to be what was playing on TV versus
Yeah,
like
yeah.
something that I like
Sought
went
out.
out.
Yeah.
And
that is true. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously with me, I'm a, well, how do I say this?
But you have a deeper classic knowledge than I do.
But
And I
mine
will
is
tell
very
you-
specific. Like if you follow my vein, like it's like
Yeah.
a what is that? A vein of gold in a rock formation.
Okay.
Like I follow certain veins, and I don't deviate too much from them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I kind of go for like when I find a director that I like, Kubrick, Fellini, Kurosawa. Like I go with those, and then I'm like, okay, well this one is adjacent to that. So what is that like? And if I don't like it, I just don't go anymore. If I do like it, I'm like, okay, well what else did they do? You know, like Pasolini and stuff like that.
But you did find those
I did.
those classics.
But I found them in weird
in weird
kind of
pockets
weird
of the
way.
universe.
Yeah, like it wasn't. I don't know. It's well. I think Stanley, for instance. I think Stanley came up because A Clockwork Orange. Because what teen isn't initiated into the A Clockwork Orange situation?
I had to seek out A Clockwork Orange.
But you knew about it. Like people talked about it, right?
Yeah, too much.
Especially back when I was a
Yeah.
teen. Like that was like, oh, you see A Clockwork Orange? It's so good. It was like. It was one of those things where everybody had seen it. So,
Yeah.
you know, I was like, well, I'll watch it.
Yeah,
And of course,
people were
I
like-
did love it, but I probably loved it for other reasons. I didn't love it because of, so violent.
I didn't like how
scandalous,
violent
and
it
so-
was. It got
See, I
it
didn't
got
think
to
it
me.
was.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't. I mean, it is, I guess, technically it's violent, but it's
It's
stylized
it
violence.
also, isn't that the plot?
Yeah, no, it is, but it's very like when you watch that sequence when they're fighting the other gang in the old casino, and it's like it's so choreographed and so
Yeah.
fluid and
I think
artistic and
Them
like a
fighting
ballet.
the
It's
gang
not-
wasn't what got to me. It was them
Well, the
beating
rape
up
scene
the
was
old
pretty bad.
man.
the rape scene was pretty bad. I'm sorry. I mean, it was, but he also didn't have to, because Stanley didn't give you all the gross parts of that. You know what I mean? Like David Fincher nowadays, he'd probably just flat out put a penis up in there and like be gross.
Yeah,
Like,
he
you know
would.
what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah.
just there's too much reality with some of it nowadays. Where Stanley, you didn't actually see the rape. Like, it was implied, and then you kind of got past it.
Yeah.
Not that it's great
Something
or
to
anything,
get
but
past.
No, but, you know, but anyway, whatever. But I think that's what I think it was. I'm pretty sure that A Clockwork Orange was the first Stanley. It's kind of hard with Stanley because he's the oldest of my nerd
Yeah.
directors that I love. So I'm pretty sure it had. Well, no, I take that back. The Shining. I knew about Full Metal Jacket because my dad loved it, and I had seen parts of it, but I never saw the whole thing. And I was like, oh, it's some stupid, military movie. I don't really care about that. And then The Shining, it was on television, and I knew that was one of those movies that I wasn't allowed to see.
Yeah.
So when it was on one of those stations when I was in my room alone in Georgia, I was like, oh, it's on, and I'm alone, and nobody's here, so I'm going to watch it. And then I did, and I was like, well, that was amazing. But I didn't, the woman in the bathtub naked, blah, blah, blah.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, that's right. Well, I could see why I wasn't supposed to see it, but I just thought beyond that, well, it was good. And then 2001 was another one.
I've seen that.
I've seen part of it. Like, I saw the part where he was jogging in the centrifuge, and I was like, what the fuck is this movie about? Like, that's the only part I saw, and then I switched it to another channel. And then years later, I finally watched the whole thing. I was like, oh, that's what it was. Okay, I liked it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so Stanley was in bits and pieces and all over, but Clockwork was probably how it really, jettisoned the whole idea. Like, oh, he made that movie too. He made that one. Oh, he made that one.
Yeah. I mean, I do that too.
Yeah.
Like, but it wasn't, like, I was nervous about recording with you because of I didn't think that I was as knowledgeable as you were.
I think you are, but it's just
Different. It's definitely
It's
just
different,
different. Yeah. And you
but
changed my tune when you picked Vibes.
Yeah. Well, I love
Yeah.
just movies. Too.
Yeah,
Like,
and
it
I
doesn't
think
have to be, like,
this podcast
high art
has
cinema.
has given me a lot of, like, new knowledge of my friend.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, same. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. That's why we started this. Which, by the way, that's the origin of kind of this whole thing.
Yes.
We would get together and
we would do
'cause
this.
even when we were friends among friends, like we were introduced because of a group of people,
Yes.
and we'd always hang out with it. But it
And
was
we would
always,
like do game nights. It wasn't ever.
It wasn't you and me one-on-one for a while, but I remember of all the people that we would hang out with at those situations, you were the one I could talk to about movies for the most part because you knew.
I just thought you would talk to anybody who was listening.
No, not at all. That is not
movies.
true. No. No, but that's kind of where this whole thing came from
Yeah.
because this is how we hang out.
Yeah. I mean, this
And
is what we would do if we weren't recording.
This is what we would do if we weren't recording. This exact thing that we did, like this episode specifically is basically what it is like when we're just talking. Because that's what we did. We went to a Barnes & Noble, we sat and we talked about movies to kind of get a feel for what we would want to do, right?
Well,
That was way back.
we did it, and then we discussed the idea afterwards, towards the end of it.
Yeah, that was fun. I remember that day.
I do too.
I think
got a lemon
film
bar
that day. I did. I bought a Criterion Blu-ray. I can't think of what it was.
It had pretty. It had the pretty costumes, a runway. It was a big fanciful scene of, I want to say, greens and reds. You showed me a scene from this particular movie.
I remember.
It was Criterion
It
because there
was-
was a Criterion
Yes.
sale, and
God damn it! What was it? Oh,
you urged me to watch it. It was a lot of fancy costumes. It was like a runway shoot almost, but I don't know what.
was it Roma?
That sounds right.
Was it Fellini's Roma?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was.
Yes, it was.
Oh, look at us. So,
But yeah, so.
oh, but anyway, I was gonna say just to finish that real quick. So there's us, there's
Sure.
our level, and then there's levels above us. And I think that's where it gets kind of like those snot people that I'm just
Yeah,
like,
dude, I'm
give
team
me a
pups and
fucking
suds.
break.
Get the X-Blades out of
Get a
here.
break. Like, I don't know. It's like the people that
Put you down because you don't have that knowledge.
because your favorite filmmaker is Stanley Kubrick. It's like those people you got to be afraid of, because it's like, well, what? Because don't we all love Stanley? I'm kind of confused here. He is a master of cinema, isn't he? No,
Yeah.
because this one rare obscure filmmaker from Guatemala. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're pulling things out that I don't even think are even real.
And it's
That's like when
it is
Carrie
to have
Bradshaw
that.
mentions the Claude LaRouche film. Mm-hmm. She literally says, Claude, that feels like a scene from a Claude LaRouche film or whatever. And I was like, who the fuck is that? And I looked it up. Do you know? No idea who that guy is to this day. I don't even think he has a Wikipedia page. I'm like, who the fuck is this person?
Yeah, just to prove a point.
Just to prove a point. It's like, fuck you. Oh,
Yeah.
you know who Claude LaRouche is, whoever that is. He probably designed a bag.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. No, he was a filmmaker, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, so last bits for this. What are your top 5 films?
Oh, when I talk to people about movies and I love like a technical aspect, I will talk with them about the scene and then I'll segue into the technical aspect. That's how I talk to people.
Oh, okay. I see.
No.
I see.
I had to figure it out. I just have to figure out how to connect with people in general. I'm not very connectable.
I'm not either.
No.
I just start talking about Prince and Stanley Kubrick and no one knows
And
what the
people
fuck I'm
run
talking
away.
about. Like, what? Ew.
My top favorite movies?
Yeah.
That's a really rough question, and I really hated that you asked me that.
I gave you
and
prep
you
for that
gave me
too.
prep time for it, and I hated when you asked me then as well. But I will say that it was difficult because my top movies I picked are movies that I can always go back to and watch, and there's like a special place for them. So obviously,
that's kind of what it is.
Scream,
Okay.
Terminator 1 and 2, I count them as one story.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. The Day the Earth Stood Still, the 1951 version, not that garbage with Keanu
Which we
Reeves.
still haven't redone.
No, but
That was supposed to be our first episode.
yes, it's one of my all-time favorite films.
And it was very good.
Yeah, and you asked me for a top 5. Little Shop of Horrors. Love it. Frank Oz. Love it.
Yeah, it's very good.
Love it. It was Frank Oz's first movie without
Jimmy.
without Jim Henson. Yes, sir.
Jimmy Kim.
And I think 12 Angry Men. 12 Angry Men I've always
cut-
thought of as
made
like
the
a
cut. Made
solid
the cut.
movie.
Okay.
But these are just like older, like these are movies that I've loved for a really long time. Whereas, like, as I was thinking about it, I was like, best movie 2019, obviously, Midsummer.
She's been talking about this nonstop.
I can't
I
get
still
enough
haven't
people to
watched
watch it.
I will watch it. I will. But,
And, 2017 was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
oh, that was good. That was.
Or,
so
I'm
good.
sorry, 2018 was that. I really loved that movie. That movie was so stupid good.
That was very fucking good.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I would say 2017 would be Baby Driver. I can't remember a lot
You
from
know what?
2017.
I liked that too.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
Edgar Wright. He did Scott
You know,
Pilgrim.
Kevin Spacey, but whatever.
No, the director also directed Scott Pilgrim.
I love Scott Pilgrim.
And Scott Pilgrim was
That was a
the best. You know what?
fantastic fucking movie.
Scott Pilgrim might be one of my favorite movies.
Do I still own that? I certainly hope so.
Maybe it's in my top 10.
I think I do.
But yeah, but there's movies I'll call like, I'll be like, that one's good.
I have my what do you call it? My go-to indulgent ones. Mm-hmm. Which I didn't even think about that. Like, one of those is in my top 5 that I wrote down.
What's the top 5 you wrote down?
My top 5 that I wrote down: Barry Lyndon,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. Juliet of the Spirits by Federico Fellini,
Okay.
which is absolutely stunning. Throne of Blood, which I mentioned. Sleeping Beauty, the animated film by Walt Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't direct it, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
The one with Maleficent. We all know it. And Thoroughly Modern Millie, which is one of my go-to I can just watch that and it's perfectly fine. And I know every single freaking word
Yeah.
of all 2 hours and 18 minutes of it. But there's also ones that, like, my go-to, like, I watch a lot. Mm-hmm. Like my secret indulgent ones, like The Devil Wears Prada.
Ooh, I love that
Which
movie.
I watch a lot.
I watch a lot of Clueless.
The Mirror Has Two Faces with Barbara Streisand. That's one of those that I'll just, when I don't know what to watch, I'll pick that. Oddly, Jean Cocteau, his film Blood of a Poet, I like to put on a lot before bed.
Okay, right on.
Just because it's
Right on.
nice and black and white and weird.
Mm-hmm.
Just weird enough. And it's short, so if I do end up watching the whole thing, it's not that long.
Yeah, I dig that. Legally Blonde, something I can like just
That's
play.
a fun one.
It is fun.
I like that one. Do you know what I watch? I watch Never Been Kissed. It's on Disney Plus. And I love it. Octavia Spencer's in that.
Was it you that I was talking about that movie with?
Might have been.
Somebody was
I love that movie.
like, find me here. Maybe it was a misconnection. I can't remember, but like how she like was like, meet me on the pitcher's mound before I throw the first pitch.
No, that was great. I like that movie.
That was one of the ones
Stuff
that I
think
watched
it's
a bunch.
just things like that, like those silly, ridiculous romantic comedy kind of things that
Yeah,
I just like those.
I do too.
Like, screw people.
Yeah.
I love my nerdy shit, but I also love those. So, top filmmakers. Did you have those?
Well, obviously, I think it would be obvious that one of them is Wes Craven. He was actually one of the first the first director name that I knew.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, what else has he done? Well, he did like Nightmare on Elm
See?
Street, Hills Have
See?
Eyes, Last House on the Left, which also had a brutal rape scene.
Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, also, so did The Hills Have Eyes. Wes. All right.
Wes
I'm
is
so
the
glad
weird
you
one.
grew
Is
away
Wes
from
the
it.
weird one?
Wes Craven?
Yeah.
He did Scream.
No, I know, but I'm trying
You're
to
thinking
think
of Wes
like,
Anderson?
early Wes Craven. Like, I don't know if it's him. It's one of the guys that did horror films, and there was like a weird student film that he did where he was like running around with a boner. I want
You
to
know
say it was
what?
Wes Craven.
It was probably Wes Craven.
It might have been. And it was just like, and I've never seen it, but I've heard about it, and I was like, oh,
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, I think you should find
Yeah.
out. Find out the boner movies that we can watch. I want to see something on the boner. Anyway,
What else did I write? I do like Wes Anderson too.
yes.
and
I almost brought him up when we were talking about pretentious.
right, and I think that's
But-
what I like about him. I like that weird, dry, silent humor. I think is what it is. Like I think like the quirk is what speaks to me because it kind of like speaks to the bit of the comedy nerd
Yes.
in me.
Yeah.
And like that
He's-
frustration it gives people.
He's one of those that I think it's easy to make fun of people that love his movies, but at the same time, they're genuinely good movies. Like,
Yeah.
they're not bad. And I think anybody that can compose an image the way that he does
Yes.
is brilliant. I don't know why more people don't do that. I mean, maybe it's because he's done it so well and nobody else really wants to do that.
Well, because they would have to do it better. You know?
Yeah. And, it's funny, too, because somebody just put out one of those stupid, videos, like, all the symmetrical things in Wes Anderson movies. And I was like, Stanley did that, too?
Yeah. Wes didn't
Like, it's
create
not like
symmetry. He
Wes
just did symmetry with pastels.
Yeah, like, no, Stanley did that, too. I'm pretty sure a lot of people did.
Yeah, but like it's like things like the
Stanley was
Fantastic
known
Mr.
for
Fox.
that, you know what I mean? Like,
was like
I think his stop motion ones are my favorite so far.
Yeah.
Because he can control the entirety of it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all of it can be what he wants it to look like. Whereas if you're doing a live action, there's so much that you can't control because
Yeah.
humans are humans and you can't really do. I think he's doing pretty good, though. Like, the trailer for his new one looks incredible. I gave
love
you the
watching
weird
the-
emoji because I was like, the thinking guy emoji, because
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know what the fuck this movie's about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
Yeah.
any general audience that sees that trailer would never go see that movie. Like you can say it looks good.
That's what I like. Like Royal Tenenbaums wasn't what I
I
expected.
fucking love that one. Darjeeling is my favorite though.
Yeah, also not what I expected.
Darjeeling.
His
Oh my
his
God, I
movies
love that one.
aren't what I expect from the trailer.
No, that's true. But I
And-
think all of his other trailers so far have been easy to be like, oh, well, this is about this.
Oh,
Like this one.
I've also stopped watching trailers.
Did you watch the one I sent you?
Probably. Well, like I've stopped seeking. I used to watch trailers because when I worked at a movie theater,
Oh,
I was
yeah,
just like
yeah.
diving in. But then some trailers just give you too much information, and then
This one does not.
I don't enjoy the movie.
This one's one of those ones where it's like, I don't know what you're doing, but I definitely want to see it.
Yeah.
I love trailers that have nothing to do with the movie, like scenes that are not part of it.
Yeah, Paranormal
and
Activity
when-
did that.
Excuse me, when I wanted to make films, and maybe still do, that was one of my plans, was that I would always have trailers that had scenes that are not part of the movie, but
Still give you the same
still
feeling.
give you a feeling of what the movie could be about. Does that make sense? Like what the film that I was writing called Jupiter, which I would still love to make that. At some
Jupiter
point.
Ascending?
No. It's just called Jupiter. It was based on a Tori Amos song called Hey Jupiter, because I'm a nerd. But fantastic film if you ever get to see it, whatever gets made. But those I specifically wrote trailer ideas that would basically be like, you don't have to see them all, but
Yeah.
if you did, it would kind of help you to introduce you to the film that you're going to see. You don't have to. You don't have to see the trailers to see the movie, and you don't vice versa.
Yeah.
But it works. And they're not part of what the main feature is about.
Yeah, my favorite part of filmmaking was because I had limited items to use to create. I loved working within limitations. Like if I was given like a script or video idea, and just like a few things, it's like go make it happen. That was my favorite part, and so I wanted to make trailers because I wanted to take like a big idea and make it real small.
Oh, I like
And
that,
like
yeah.
just like kind of like give you like a taste, you know. But
I don't think there's enough art in trailers these days.
yeah.
They're just so shitty.
Well, they used to be like
There used to be some brilliant fucking
there used to be a lot of effort because that's what sold it. You know, now they're just like taking.
I mean,
scene.
even to the point Stanley Kubrick, again, Full Metal Jacket, because when he, and this was a logical thing, but it was also fascinating on accident, because he filmed all the Vietnam scenes first because they had to have hair, and then he shaved everybody's hair on screen, like for the film,
Yeah.
and then did all of the Paris Island scenes. So when they cut the trailer to start advertising the movie, they only had Vietnam scenes. So when you went to the film, you had no idea
that they're
that you were
going
going to go through boot camp.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, on one hand, you're kind of like, well, this is not what I saw in the trailer. But on the other hand, it's like, well, this is fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Like,
That's incredible. Yeah.
it's just it's a surprise, especially since it lasts so long, because the boot camp sequence is long. It's like and it's not half the movie, but it's close.
Yeah.
So I thought that was fascinating. I think it's an interesting marketing strategy, or even The Shining. The Shining trailer, I mean, technically that scene is in the movie, but not the way that it is in the trailer.
Right.
Like, it's just the one shot of the elevators opening with the blood. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the trailer. Like, you get nothing else.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant. That's
I think
brilliant.
it's really good. Paranormal Activity used nothing that's in the movie in the trailers. Some people would come out pissed.
Well,
But
I
I-
also think
yeah.
that can be a disadvantage. Like, The Sweetest Thing with Cameron Diaz. The trailer has so many scenes that are not in that movie.
Yeah.
That I was like, well, what? Like, I was kind of confused. I was like, was this a different movie?
Yeah.
Because where's all those scenes in the trailer?
It's a difficult balance for sure.
Yeah. And that's a tricky thing because, like I said, with Full Metal Jacket, they used the footage from Vietnam, but Stanley's not the kind of person that frivolously films a bunch of scenes that are not going to be used. Mm-hmm. So those are going to be it. But Sweetest Thing was probably one of those things where it didn't test well or this scene didn't work. But that's what they had.
Squad. Suicide Squad had to punch up their trailer because Deadpool came out.
Oh, yeah.
And Deadpool was a comedy. And Suicide Squad was coming up right after. And the first trailers weren't good, or they weren't that, and so they were like, we need to be funny. Deadpool's funny, and Deadpool was a raging success, and they were both rated R superhero movies.
Oh, there you go.
And so they punched up the trailer, and then they like reworked the script to punch that up, and the trailer was better than the movie.
Yeah, I didn't like that movie.
No, not great. But I watched Birds of Prey yesterday.
Oh, was that good?
It was significantly better than I was expecting.
Oh, okay.
And we'll talk after because this is
Um,
not that.
Did you finish your favorite filmmakers?
I instead wrote a list of people that I am excited to see more work from.
Okay.
Like Ari Aster, who did Midsummer. I know.
He also did another movie.
Hereditary.
Thank you.
And Hereditary,
I listened to that podcast you sent me. That was very good.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I also want more. I sought out the director's cut of Midsummer because when I first watched it, I was super uncomfortable, and then as time went on and I fully digested the film, I was like, you know what? That was good.
That was kind of like Brown Bunny. Did you ever see Brown Bunny?
No.
By Vincent Gallo? I saw that in the theater, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
It's famous for its actual blowjob.
Oh, okay.
And, which, the whole thing. Anyway, whatever. And it is shocking.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie's surprisingly horribly boring up until that moment. But I kind of, in the end, I loved what he was doing. I thought it was kind of incredible that he did what he did because, and I'm spoiler all over this thing, but basically the whole movie leads up to that moment, and then right after that you find out that the girl is dead.
Yeah.
She wasn't there the whole time, and it was just him reminiscing and having a breakdown about the whole thing, and it kind of made it more spectacular, the moment when you realize that she wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because it was so real, because it was real. That blowjob was real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that it made sense to do something like that because then you were really, really, it flipped you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to be flipped. Whoa, what? What? You know what I mean? Kind of like The Sixth Sense, when everybody had that kind of reaction to The Sixth Sense. Oh, he was dead the whole time. It was
Spoiler.
You know what I mean? It was she was dead the whole time too.
Yeah.
But I thought that was fascinating. I was like, oh, I get what you're doing here. And I said, in retrospect, I probably wouldn't watch it again, but I liked that he did that. It's
right.
Okay, I got you. I get you. I get it. Buffalo 66 was better, but whatever.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. That was a great movie. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, really dug him. I really dug his transitions, his thought throughout the film. I really need you to see it. I really need you to see it because I need to talk about it with somebody other than poor Kaylee.
Star Wars with somebody. Nobody has seen it yet. You are the only person that I know.
Well, it's because we watched it together.
But I can't talk to anybody about Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's driving me nuts.
But furthermore, in Midsummer, Florence Pugh, when I watched that movie, I was like, that movie made me so uncomfortable. But who was that actress? She was great. And now she she was in Little Women, and she's going to be in the Black Widow movie. Okay. And I'm excited to see how her career grows. Yeah. Because she was great.
Who was your other one?
I had a couple. I had especially from this year, right? Booksmart. Olivia Wilde. I loved her directing in that movie.
Olivia Wilde? Is she an actress?
Yeah.
The girl from
Tron Legacy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, so she made a film.
Yeah, she directed. Did you not see Booksmart?
No.
Oh, you should watch it.
I heard about. I think I saw it.
It's
listed somewhere.
It's on Hulu right now.
Oh, okay. That's probably where I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that it's most compared to what was that Jonah Hill and Michael Cera one? Superbad.
Okay.
But with ladies, but also in in the 20 teens, 2018. So it's
I
like
was
more.
the 20s?
I was
What?
I was like trying to figure out how to say that after the
okay.
aughts.
Whatever time period
Yeah,
it is.
our 20 teens. But I like watching that movie. At the end of it, I was like, who directed that? It was
Okay.
Olivia Wilde, and I was
That's
like, girl.
crazy.
I
Oh,
was like,
that.
girl.
I love it when that happens.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Who? What?
Yeah, I was super pumped
It's like
for
when I found
her.
out Superstar was directed by Bruce McCullough. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And I think I'm really digging Greta Gerwig more.
Oh, I want to see her Little Women really bad.
Her Little Women was good. Like she
See,
messed with
okay.
the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like as far as I understood it, Little Women has always been linear.
Yeah.
As far as like the way the story's told.
So now
she
you're
starts.
explaining something I read, and I was
Yeah.
confused that somebody would get confused.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, Little Women is something that's been around forever.
Yeah.
We all know the damn book.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Winona Ryder. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like we saw what's her name die, Beth or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
we all know this. So why was it confusing for people? And then I saw some comments and I was very confused because what? And it made me fascinated because I was like, I want to see whatever this is that's confusing. But I was thinking, what could you possibly do with it that would make it confusing? And now you're explaining it. Okay.
She starts with Joe trying to sell her writing.
Okay.
And then it goes back to her youth as though Joe might be telling that story, right?
Okay.
And so it goes back and forth, but I think that it's pretty clear when we are in present day and when we're in the past. What's not clear is at the end when she's selling her pages, and throughout the movie, the guy she's selling her works to, her writings to, gives her a lot of notes and it's like, oh, you need more of this, more of that. And it's mostly like, you need more men. If you had a story about a woman, like at the end, it's like, and Joe, like that one dude falls in love with Joe, and Joe is, there's a lot of theories that
Stacy?
like,
Was his name Stacy? He had a girl's name, whatever it was.
he did, Lori.
Lori, there you go.
Yeah.
Stacy. Lori, Stacy.
yeah,
whatever, 'cause
and
her name was Joe.
And his name was Lori. Yeah, but he like tells Joe that he's in love with her, and she's just like, I don't love or whatever. She doesn't say those words, but ultimately, there's theories that Joe might be asexual. She doesn't seem to be attracted to anybody.
I could see that. Even
Right.
in the old one.
Yeah, and the writer of Little Women also never married, and so there's
There's
theories.
Louisa May Alcott, right?
Maybe.
I've been to her house.
Look at you go.
Yeah.
But so
Sorry.
so they so the way it cut is that they were paralleling what Greta Gerwig did is paralleled Joe's upbringing and like her and her sisters and all that, along with her trying to sell her work and coming into her career as a writer. And through her story, Joe didn't need no man. She wasn't in love with Laurie, and Laurie ended up marrying Francis Pugh, whatever that character was. I can't remember the girl's name. Not Beth. She wasn't the one that died.
No.
And and like in her final piece, like it was like a story, which it was the story of her childhood or whatever, and he was like, it needs an ending. And she was like, what do you mean? Like, she's like, whatever. And he was like, she needs to marry somebody. If you want people to like this story, she needs to get married and go back after the guy. Because I guess it ended with her breaking up with whatever dude she ended up with. And so the ending is like, because Joe's like, what, I don't need that. Who needs that? Like that, like that's not for her. It's for the writer to appease a wide audience. And so the actual ending kind of leaves people confused as, is that just the ending that Joe wrote to appease the public? Is that the ending we want? Or is that the actual ending? And so it kind of leaves you in a way where like, am I an asshole because I wanted them to be together, but that's just not how it works, and that's not fair. And that's not fair to Joe.
Or good for her.
And I liked that Greta Gerwig created that by changing the time. That's it.
Yeah. That's very
it's not
interesting.
like she changed plot points.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, and I mean, I dug her and like
'Cause,
Frances Ha
my
and
first
like
thing
whatever.
was like my first thing when I saw
Ooh,
that
and
she
Lady
was coming
Bird.
out with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was good.
Yeah.
When she first came out with trailers for that, I kept thinking, another Little Women? Like, do we need one? And now, after that, like, we needed it. That's fine. Because I feel like that's the kind of thing that needs to happen with stories that we know really well.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do something, because why would you do another one? Like,
Yeah.
they're coming out with a new Emma, and I'm like,
It better have value.
It better have Elton in it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we know Emma. Mm-hmm. You have
Obviously,
to give me
I thought
something
of
more interesting.
Elton from Clueless.
Well, Clueless is Emma.
Yes, but I thought of him in that period piece
yeah.
with his baggy sweater.
Oh, I love it. Please do it. Anyway, so yeah.
Okay, you can go ahead with yours.
Oh, mine.
Yeah.
Well, mine we probably talked about ad nauseum.
Wait, is it?
Yeah, guess them. Ooh.
Oh wait, Kurosawa Lini.
The name of my cat is
Yep.
Kusalini.
That's Kubrick, Fellini, and someone else that you had mentioned during this podcast.
Kurosawa.
Kurosawa.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are my top three. In that order that you said, too.
Righteous.
Very good of you.
I just named them in the order of you talking of them.
I usually do talk about them in that order because that's the
That's your order.
that I prefer them. Not anything against any of them. They're all brilliant. But for me, and I just want to briefly go over this before we end. Kubrick is my favorite, and it's because of the craft of filmmaking.
Yeah.
He crafts his films impeccably. I don't think anybody else has ever done that. I still don't think anybody does. Like not just the editing or just the photography, is everything. Oh, the whole thing, the way he brings it together is perfect. Like, especially focus pulling. Like, you see any other movie, you're gonna see things go out of focus. And like Notebook, huge scene, like where it like went out of focus. I was like, where the fuck is the focus puller? And I wouldn't have known that if it wasn't for Stanley Kubrick, because all of his films are impeccably photographed. Like, it's just the attention to craft in his filmmaking is what I love about it. And we can go further when we do.
I always think of directors as the stitching that sews the film together.
Yeah.
Like if you have like a loose stitch or a bad stitch, like knowing how to stitch things differently and make them fit.
Like,
Not that I know how to
Kubrick's
sew.
quilts are the most amazing quilts you're ever gonna get, and he was like that with everything in life.
Yeah.
We'll go over all that when we do some Kubrick. Well, not old Kubrick. I would say. Never mind. Whatever. We'll do Kubrick
We'll do
because we've done
Kubrick.
the Killing already, but that's not really like the meat of Kubrick.
Right.
In my opinion, like that's later. Anyway, not the point. So Fellini was the life. He had the best representation of life in his films.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen anything that makes me as happy watching his films. And even when he's talking about death, which is part of life, it's the way he does it. It just works. It's like, yes, I'm going to tell you about that, but you're still going to love my film.
Yeah.
He's so good at that. He's so brilliant. And Kurosawa is the majesty of film, like the epic film. He made films that you just could not believe they were happening. Like, if he builds a castle, he's gonna burn it down. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he did do that. Or like the time he built an entire city on what do you call it? Plates, like
dinner plates?
not dinner plates.
Tectonic plates.
Yeah, like
To have, like, an earthquake and, like, tear it down?
And he built the whole entire town.
Mm-hmm.
He had people live in it for over a year so that it could look like it had been lived in for over a year. He filmed his movie, and then for one brief scene in the movie where there's an earthquake and a city is destroyed, that's what he did. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like, he had to have multiple countries finance his films.
Yeah.
They're insane. They're so big. They're huge. They're crazy. And they're amazing. They're all good. So anyway, so that's why I like those three. My other choices were Stan Brakhage. I love his films, and I don't think we've talked.
No, I
We
know
don't
who
talk
that
a lot about
is.
him. Not a lot of people talk about him. He did very avant-garde films. Most of his films were hand-painted.
No, we've watched some of his stuff together.
Yes, I believe I put some on for you.
Yeah.
Most of them are very short, less than 3 minutes.
Yes.
Criterion thankfully put out a beautiful collection of his work, which you can get on the Criterion Collection, 50% off at Barnes & Noble at some point.
If only we had a sponsor.
Yeah, seriously. If only it was the Criterion Collection.
Oh my goodness,
Hey.
could you imagine?
Listen, Criterion. Let me in that closet. The Quay Brothers is my 5th choice.
Oh, I did not realize.
Oh, I love them. They're amazing. Are you thinking of the right people?
Yeah.
Okay. Stop motion. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I love them.
I've heard you talk about them before,
Oh, okay.
but it was like once or twice.
Jean Cocteau was going to be in there because he is one of my favorites, but he, whatever. I chose the ones I chose.
Right on.
Technically, on my shelf, Jean Cocteau is between Kurosawa and Breakage.
Yeah, you have your shelf ordered.
I
I meant
do
to
have-
look at
yeah.
my shelf before I left.
I do have it in order of my favorite directors, so it goes Kubrick, Fellini, Kurosawa, Jean Cocteau, Stan Breckage, the Quay brothers, Ray Harryhausen, who is technically not a director, but he worked on the stop motion, Palin and Pressburger, Wong Kar-wai, and I'm blanking.
That's okay.
Animation, Spirited Away, Miyazaki, and then John Waters.
I knew the answer.
You can see the shiny things from here. Anyway, so that's that.
Right on.
So, my goodness, we talked a lot.
Yeah, and it was about like nothing, so we should probably like let people go.
Yeah, I think we should. We might have to break this up into 2 little sections.
Maybe.
I think we should.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Oh, wait. Next week, we're watching
Oh, yes. Next week we are doing. Are we doing?
8.5?
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I was confirming with you. 8.5 by Federico Fellini. So if you haven't seen it, please watch it. I'll probably post a trailer on our social medias.
Ooh, that'll be cool.
Yeah. So you can get a vision of what we're going to be doing. So look forward to that.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Yeah, toodles. If I can figure out how to turn this off.
onefootpodcast@gmail.com.
Is it at gmail.com? Oh, that's the...
Or One Foot Podcast everywhere else. So you can just like hit the stop button.